Hi everyone, and welcome to another review. This one is for women in sports. This is about 50 fearless athletes who played to win, written and illustrated by Rachel Ignotofsky. I don't really have much to say about this. This is just about 50 different women. Actually, a little bit more, because there are spots in this where it's like, oh, here's another woman that made a difference, or a group of women, a team of women. But it's mostly about individual women. And it has the image here, and then it has little snippets, a quote by the woman, and then on the other page, it's a story, just a little mini couple paragraph biography of their life, and then a couple of important timelines of events regarding the woman's life. And all these women fought for, to be able to do sports, to participate in sports. If you're looking for, this is non-fiction, and it is also considered a feminist book. So there is a lot of talk about how, men, clear back when someone was trying to do track and field, or what was it, skydive, figure skating. There's a whole bunch of them, and there's a lot of references to how sexist men have been regarding sports. And I don't know how, I'm not involved in sports, so I can't say how much things have changed. I do like the fact that there are women's sports, because I think that you can learn a lot from teamwork and things like that, and can have fun, and it's good physical activity. I do believe that. As far as blatantly saying, someone clear back in the 1800s was sexist, I personally, I kind of look at that and I go, well, was pretty much everyone. Women were, yes, we do know that from history, were oppressed and stuff, but that was what things were thought by the majority of people, not just the men, but everyone, and the majority of people. And so I do like the fact that this talks about different women who were like, you know what, no, I don't like how things are talked about. I don't like that we are being kept from figure skating, being kept from skiing, being kept from all this other stuff. And so they are like, I can do this just as well as a man can, if not better. And so they fight for the right to be able to, for the privilege to be able to play sports. I know I'm not explaining it very well. It was interesting. Is this something that I plan on rereading in the future? Probably not. I'm just gonna let it go to another home where someone else will also thoroughly enjoy it. There are some ones that I really enjoyed. Like, there's one about someone who went into archery. I want to learn how to shoot a bow and arrow. I think that would be very fun and enjoyable. I enjoy the ones that were about swimming, because I love the water and I love swimming pools. There's one about softball. And women being able to play softball. Some huge barriers were broken about women being able to play certain sports, because it was only a man thing. There were some women who dressed up as a man to be able to play the sport. And refs and other people did not know, except for maybe immediate team members, and their coach obviously knew it was a woman on their team. And they actually played better than the men. So it was interesting. It was very interesting. One of the things was roller derby. Another thing that was mentioned in here, there's a couple of them that it's like not only did they fight for women, they fight for LGBTQ rights. So you have that in here as a few references as well. I think there's one that was lesbian and one is bi. I don't know. I can't remember, because there's a lot of people in here. Now here's one thing that I did notice. Compared to the other books that I read, like Women in Art and Women in Science, those start with women that were much further back in history than this did. It starts from the oldest woman that made a difference in sports to more present day. The first woman in this that's talked about is Madge Sears, and she was born in 1881 and died in 1917. And then the next one, she retired in 1922. I think she was born in 1893 and then it jumps into, okay, 1904, and then it just keeps going. Quite a big chunk of this was people born just a little bit before my time. And some I started to recognize, like, let me tell you who I officially recognized in this book. And they are the ones that I found the most interesting to read about, because I remember their names being so predominant in their field when it came to like the Olympics and things like that. I'm trying to find, Serena Williams is in this. Let's see. Who else is in here that I recognize? Kelly Clark, the name sounds familiar. I think there's one older than Serena Williams. Let's see. I think Simone Biles sounds familiar. Okay, there is one that's older, and it has to do with figure skating. Let me see if I can find it, because to me that was like the most. I mean, Serena Williams was interesting, but oh shoot, where is it? Oh, here it is. Kristi Yamaguchi. I remember watching Kristi Yamaguchi ice skating. So I don't know. I found that very interesting as well. You have someone in here too, so it's not just standard sports that you think of: basketball, archery, figure skating, but you also have people that were in the Paralympics as well. So there were some very interesting facts in this. At times I felt like the way it was written was to try and shame the men of the past. I think it's better just to, my personal opinion, just to learn from it, make the difference, but don't shame people, because that can, I think, do much more harm than good. I think you can say you don't agree with it, you don't agree with how things are. I don't know. That's a whole different discussion. You know, do things need to change in certain aspects in life in general? Yeah, they do. You know, it also talked about in the very early time how some of the women were involved in the suffragettes, or they wanted to get women the right to vote. And that was very, very important. So you also have a timeline in the front. There's also this thing about like the anatomy of a sports person and things like that. So you have bodybuilders, skateboarders, you have roller derby. So this covers a lot of different sporting fields. So it was interesting, yes. I don't think I'll reread it. Out of all the books, so Rachel Ignotofsky has 3 books like this. So you have the Women in Sports, Women in Art, and Women in Science. Women in Art is my least favorite, just because I don't connect with art that much. I obviously don't connect very well with sports. I like sports, they're fun to watch, and I could see all the benefits from it as well. So I did enjoy this one more, but my favorite was the Women in Science. All 3, if you're looking for feminist nonfiction, can be considered feminist, and I think that they are actually tagged as feminist. So, and I can see how empowering this can be towards young girls. This is middle grade or YA, I think, but it was very interesting. I just don't see myself rereading it, so this will go to a new home. But I do recommend it to just kind of, at the very least, have a peruse through. But I don't know, I think it's a great starting point. Especially, like, this is something that I would have really have liked to have looked at if I was younger and had to do a English report on a person of influence in history. This would be a great place to start, because then you can get a little bit of biography about someone and say, I want to learn more about this person, like Kristi Yamaguchi or Serena Williams, or, you know, whoever else you want to, Nicola Adams, Kim Soon-young, you know. So this is definitely can have a bunch of options like that too. So I gave this one 3 stars. It was fine. Definitely not my favorite nonfiction, but I thoroughly enjoyed the. I think I gave it 3. No, I gave it 4 stars. So the Women in Art was more like 3 stars. This one is definitely 4 stars. The Women in Science was more like a 5-star. But yeah, so I did really enjoy this, and I can see how impactful and beneficial this will be to several people to read. But is this something that I can see someone rereading over and over? honestly, no, I can't. At least for me personally. But if you can reread it over and over, great. But I don't know. One thing I will say, the other reason I'm going to get rid of this is there were issues in this book with how it was printed, I guess. Not with the writing and stuff, but it's like some of the pages are like this one, for example, for Marion Ledwig, who went to bowling. Very smooth, very glossy, very smooth. But then like the next page, it is not glossy, and it is very rough and kind of grainy feeling on both of the pages. And that just really, really bothered me. I think stick to one, all glossy or all grainy. But yeah, so that really bugged me, but that's a me thing. But yeah, so Women in Sports by Rachel Ignotofsky. Good, definitely a good read, and can be definitely beneficial and empowering to some people. But yeah, so I'm glad I read it, but I will let this go to a new home where someone else will enjoy it much more than I did. So let me know if you've read this, and I think that will be it for this video. So until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.